All right, welcome back for another episode of the FIT40 Podcast. Today we got a couple of topics on deck that I think are going to really help. First, we're going to talk about energy and talk about how to boost it at this time of the year. So I pretty much went through all of my client check-ins and I'm like, okay, who is crushing it on the energy scale this week? Because I do ask everybody, what is your energy like this past week? So I took one of our top performers and I'm pretty much going to give you her recipe for success that has been working so well for her. And on top of that, along with the energy, we're going to be talking about recipes and more specifically how to put together meals that are high protein, that are going to leave you feeling amazing and allow you to get really good results as well. So let's dive in. Now, first, we're going to start with the energy. So at this time of the year, a lot of people struggle with like seasonal affective disorder type stuff where it's colder, it's darker, and we just are feeling bleh. Okay, this is normal, happens to everybody, and there are things that you can do to combat that. Like vitamin D comes to mind, especially if you're in a very dark area of the world that doesn't get a whole lot of sunlight. So could be worth consulting your doctor about that and just seeing what might help you and get the right dosages based on your specific situation. And then along with that, there's things that you can do that are just lifestyle stuff that will help tremendously. So let's talk about my client, Jen, who has been a longtime client over, I think we're coming up on 13, 14 months, and she's done amazing throughout the entire process, but right now she is truly thriving. And I will say, quick disclaimer, her work situation greatly improved recently, so that has been a big stress relief. So that's pretty much number one, which is if you have a work situation or something that is a consistent stressor in your life and you have the ability to potentially make that better, that's probably the lowest hanging fruit. So if it is within your control, it wasn't in hers, it just happened to work out that way. But if it is within your control and you can do something about it, getting rid of stressors that are constantly triggering you and bringing you down is probably the easiest and quickest way, or I'll take easiest out of that, the quickest way to boost your energy levels. Because when you devote all your energy to a stressor like that, it just drains you. Whether it's a person that is like a toxic person or a situation that you're paying attention to on the news, like something that consistently takes your energy away from the things that you actually should be putting it towards that are going to benefit you, that's pretty big. That is one of those huge rocks that we can focus on. Another thing she mentioned in her check-in is that she got all of her housework done. And this is a very underrated thing because a lot of times what our living situation looks like, and I'm speaking from personal experience, you can very much tell when I am stressed or when I am pushing the limits on what my work capacity for the week is based on looking at the apartment. Okay, so right now, as I speak, this was a very busy week. There are dishes in the sink that have not been washed for a couple of days. Full disclosure, I'm gross. I feel disgusting. I know. There's also laundry that needs to be done. There are a number of different things that are still on the to-do list. And just having that giant to-do list or seeing those dishes staring you in the face or having the laundry that has been washed and dried but hasn't been folded and put away, that stuff does add up. That stuff is a stressor. So one of the best things, one of my favorite things to do when I feel stressed, when I feel overwhelmed, is to do the housework, do that stuff, because when you operate in a clean, organized environment, it relieves a lot of mental stress. So if you have the ability to just block out some time and really clear out everything and make sure everything's clean, organized, it will feel literally like a weight is off of your shoulders. So give it a try and see if that helps. Another really big thing that helps is sleep. And this is the time of the year that is prime for sleep conditions, because during the summer, it can be gross and hot and you're just like, ugh, I feel like I can't sleep. At least me, I'm very temperature sensitive. And this can be greatly improved during the colder months of the year. It's basically hibernation season. So take advantage of this, and if you're able to sleep in at any point, sleep in. If you are able to get to bed a little bit earlier because it's getting dark out and you're feeling a little sleepier sooner, take advantage of it right now and just bank on the sleep. And if you feel like you wake up groggy from getting more sleep, that's actually a sign that you need more. Chances are you are in sleep debt. That's your body saying, hey, this was good. We need more. It's not, oh, I just can't sleep this long or I just feel like crap. No, it's a sign that you need more. Okay. Unless you're really pushing the envelope and you're getting like 9-10 hours, then it's probably worth consulting a physician about. And then when it comes to the next thing on the list that I have here, nutrition also plays a very, very big role because it's very stressful around this time of year if you didn't catch on that from the very get-go with this topic. But when we get stressed, we look for quick, simple solutions. And sometimes that results in ordering out more, in picking up fast food and things like this. They check the box in the moment, but they leave us feeling low energy because they are less nutrient dense than whole foods are. So if you want a quick way to improve your energy levels just by making a quick switch, like that could be, instead of going to this restaurant that has all the tasty stuff that makes me feel like crap, try going to a different restaurant. Something like, I mean, you could even get high quality options from Chipotle, from Cava, certain, like mostly those like scoop restaurants where they put it together in front of you. You can find grilled chicken, you can find vegetables, you can make something that is pretty good. But I'm not going to skip ahead to our recipe section just yet because I'm gonna have more on that for you. So just know that nutrition can be a very, very big difference maker. And then last but not least is exercise. When it comes to exercise, a lot of times when we feel low energy, we just are like, yeah, I don't have the energy to do it. But what most people don't realize is that when you exercise, when you're tired, it could potentially put you in a position where you are so tired that you sleep better. And when you sleep better, you gain more energy. And when you gain more energy, you can work out more. And then it creates this beautiful symphony of being active, feeling good, regulating your sleep, and you feel your absolute best. So right now, if you feel low energy and you're like, I just can't get my workouts in, it might require you to give yourself a little bit of a kick in the ass and say, let's just get one in. Let's just get one good one in. And if you want a really good way to do that and in a time-friendly way, get the most bang for your buck, make sure that you check out the next podcast coming up that I'm going to be releasing on Friday, because we're going to be talking all about exercise around this time of year when it gets nuts. So that's pretty much my top, I would say, 4 things when it comes to improving energy based on how Jen has been crushing it and based on just general things that have been working really, really well with the clients and in my own experience. So get that housework done if you can. And when it comes to, or actually it's 5 things. So stress is number 1. If you can clear out any stress, please do. It'll help. And then along with that, do your housework and stuff. If you can get dishes cleaned, laundry done, and just take that off the plate. One less thing. Make sure to bank on sleep if you can. Get your nutrition on point. Get your exercise in, and you will be feeling I can't even put it into words. I can't even find the words. You will be feeling like a brand new freaking person if you can get those things down, or even just one of those things. One thing, one major change can completely change this time of the year. So give it a go. Pick the quickest win that you can out of that. That's probably your best bet. So out of those 5 things, just pick one where you're like, okay, I could easily do that, and just give that a try, see how you feel, and then stack on top of that as you go. Now, let's say nutrition was that one where you're like, okay, nutrition's easy. It's just a matter of making a different decision. It's not going to take more time. It's not going to really be a gigantic effort. It's just going to be me saying this, not that. Okay, so when it comes to creating healthy recipes, this is one of the reasons that I start off everybody in the FIT40 program with our PFC method, protein, fiber, color, because that is like the simplest way to put together a meal. So how do you do it? So number 1 is when you are figuring out what you're going to eat, before you go into the whole PFC or anything, figure out what cuisine you want. Because I know many times anybody who's in a relationship right now knows you turn to your partner and you're like, so what do you want to eat? And they're just like, I don't know. What do you want to eat? And then it's this back and forth of, I don't know. And then you're just like, just tell me. And then you get pissed at each other. Clearly, this has happened recently. But when it comes to figuring out what to eat, cuisine is always a really, really good start. And if you don't know what you're really in the mood for in the moment because you got a million things going on. One of my favorite things to do is just open up DoorDash and be like, what looks good? Because they got all of those pictures on there. They have all the descriptions and you know what your favorites are. So you usually lean towards certain restaurants. And when that's the case, then you can say, okay, I want this type of food, but I'm not going to go to this restaurant because it might be a little bit unhealthy as far as the options are concerned. So I'll just make this at home. Or you can say, okay, I'm going to get this cuisine, but at a higher quality restaurant. So let's say that you want Mediterranean food and you're like, okay, this place does it, but it's really oily when it comes and I feel like lethargic after I eat it. Why don't we try and find a different place that does a little bit differently? Like, for example, Cava is a restaurant near me and it's Chipotle style. You can get a lot of high quality stuff, get fresh vegetables, lean meats and things like that, and go that route instead. So you could still order in and it's still probably going to be more calories than if you were cooking at home, but it's going to be less calories than picking the super greasy option. So it kind of comes down to knowing the options in your area. So that could be a really good way to go about it if you're in a pinch and you don't have time to cook. Now, let's say you want to take it to that next level and say, okay, I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to cook things at home for me because I want to feel my absolute best. Then that's where the PFC method comes in. So let's say that you have looked up your cuisine and you're like, okay, I want this today. And you're like, okay, so I have X, Y, and Z in the fridge. Let's figure it out. Number one, what is the protein? Go with chicken, fish, lean turkey, stuff like that, where it's a lean protein. Now, how do you know if something's lean? One of my favorite ways to know is the 0 rule. So you take whatever the grams of protein are and add a 0 on the end of it. So say it's 20 grams of protein per serving, add a 0 to that, 20 with a 0 on the end is 200. So that means it should be 200 calories or less per serving. And if you can stick to that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in a really, really good spot. So these are things like 93.7 turkey or chicken breast, white fish, things like this can pretty much put you right there. And then once you've got that, next up is F. So PFC. F stands for fiber. Now, what is the carbohydrate? What is the carb that's going to be on this? Is it going to be a potato, rice, bread, whatever it is? Just make it fibrous, okay? You can have bread, you can have potatoes, you can have all these things that are like no-nos in all of these other random programs that say you can't have this, you can't have that. Okay, there's no good reason not to, and there's plenty of benefits and reasons why you should. Because when it comes to carbohydrates, our bodies love using carbs for energy. So why not just give our body what it wants? Now, carbohydrates also come in the form of sugar, which is the thing that people need to minimize. Now, you don't need to avoid sugar completely, but you can't be having tons and tons of sugar all day, every day, and just have your blood sugar through the roof for almost every hour of the day. That's obviously not a good thing. So what do? We make sure that there's fiber in it, because what fiber does is it slows down your digestion and it slows down the release of sugar into your bloodstream. And that way you don't have crazy sugar spikes, and it also improves your digestion, and it has a bunch of health benefits on top of that. So let's get some fiber in there. So the easiest way to do that is swapping. So let's say you're going for a sandwich or something. Instead of going for Italian bread, which is near and dear to my heart, I love it, but in this case, we don't want to make it an everyday thing. Whether it's Italian bread, white bread, Wonder Bread, any of this stuff, instead of that, try and find a whole grain option. So this could be something like, or something with fiber. This could be sourdough. This could be rye bread. This could be whole grain, stuff like that, where it's not just enriched white flour, something that has some actual substance to it. And if you're confused on what exactly you should be eating, just take a look at the nutrition label. If it has like bare minimum, like 2 or 3 grams of fiber per like slice or per 2 slices, that would be okay. And if you can get more than that, even better. And one of the best things to do too is, like, let's say you're doing a burrito. Wraps are an absolute cheat code. The way that they make them now, especially the gluten-free ones, like the sweet potato wrap is 11 grams of fiber per wrap. Okay, there's other ones that are spinach wraps, or just the other regular gluten-free one are 6 or 7 grams per wrap. And then there's also whole grain wraps, which technically aren't gluten-free. So they also have a ton. And if you look for the carb balance ones, those are usually the ones that are loaded with fiber. They can be a gigantic help, because sometimes we do just need fiber bombs during the day to raise our daily intake of fiber. Now, we don't want to have so much that we're running to the bathroom. It does take a little bit of easing in here, but you should be able to handle like 10 grams of fiber, 20 grams of fiber in a meal. And if you can't, that's probably a good sign that you should increase your fiber intake going forward. Because if you have all this stuff backed up and then that just lets the floodgates loose, then yeah, you probably needed that. But also, when in doubt, always consult your doctor, ask a registered dietitian. If you have anything like IBS comes to mind, certain things you want to be very careful on the fiber intake and adjust it accordingly. And then last but not least is color. So what is the fruit or vegetable that complements this thing? Simple ways to do that are just, when it comes to a sandwich, lettuce and tomato. Boom, check it, done. And if you can, instead of lettuce, go for spinach, because there's a little bit more bang for your buck, and there's a lot more nutritious benefit that comes with spinach as opposed to like iceberg lettuce, which is basically like chomping on water. Another simple one is fajita veggies. So if you're going to Chipotle, throw those fajita veggies in, or salsa and stuff like that. You could just toss it in and it complements it. It tastes good, and you're eating vegetables, but you don't really feel like you're making a huge effort to eat vegetables, because a lot of times people think, oh, veggies. And they think of all those vegetables that their parents forced them to eat when they were younger that they absolutely hated, and that's their association with vegetables. When in reality, there are so many really, really good options out there that you probably haven't even tried yet, or that are in dishes that you don't really factor in and say, oh, this is actually me eating vegetables. So try and find certain recipes or dishes that include them, that make them complementary, not just, oh, I threw a side of Brussels sprouts in because I got to get my veggies. Let it be cohesive. All right. And then when you can do that, eating healthy becomes delicious and fun. It's not a chore, and it will make a huge difference for you going forward. And it will help, like I said, it'll help boost your energy. It could help you reduce body fat. It could help you build muscle, and it could help you mentally feel a little bit more clear and have a little less brain fog throughout this time of the year as well. So give this a try. And if you do need some recipes to go off of, maybe a sample meal plan, maybe a sample grocery list, so you have pretty much everything that you need, I got you. In the show notes, in the description, I put the FIT40 high protein recipe book. So if you want to get a copy and just run that, feel free. And it's all got my MyFitnessPal barcode, so you can just scan it and then it's in your tracker. So you don't have to add in every little ingredient, which is also freaking awesome. So go ahead and download that. And as always, if you're not in the FIT40 family, the Facebook group where we run the monthly challenges and I give away daily tips pretty much every single week, get your butt in there. You're missing out. Get your butt in there. And if you want the whole shebang and you want to get the quickest results and be on the path towards your healthiest, most energized self ASAP, that's what coaching is for. So if you need that accountability factor, go ahead, check out the details down below, and it'll tell you pretty much everything you need to know. All right, that's it for this week. That's it for today. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you on Friday for that episode all about exercise and how to fit it in to your holiday schedule. But until then, go kick some ass. I will see you later.